We are live, David.
Good morning.
Regret? This is
Oh.
Intimate ZVX with Stoic, episode 12. I am Stoic Nouveau.
It's a cough, and I'm Stoic Regret.
No coughing allowed. Maybe you should stop smoking.
Yeah. I'm sick and tired. Alright.
Hang on, I gotta put it on busy. Spiky keeps messaging me.
Alright.
Alright, are we ready?
Yep. This is a ZvZ game 1 against NITRIXENERGY.
And let me get in game here, make sure I'm in game. There we go. So, NITRIXENERGY. Now, we still haven't been able to figure out who the hell this guy is.
Yeah, but he's pretty good. So.
He's at the top of the Grandmaster North American ladder, but I don't know. Why don't you make a comment about this?
I have no idea who it is.
I watched this replay, and this guy is good. His decision making is excellent.
Alright, so ZvZ. Let's jump into
ready?
it. Yep.
3, 2, 1, play.
Alright. So, this is not MLG version of Antigua, once again, so you have to scout both locations to your left and to your right. In a ZvZ, it's not so bad, because at least you're also Zerg, but when you're opening 15 hatch, you have to be a little bit more careful. 14-14 and earlier pools are a little bit stronger when the distances are shorter.
I think ZvZ can still be Imba.
Good comment.
You know, if you go Roach and he goes Mutalisks, and fuck.
Yeah, one of the Zergs, the winning Zerg always has an advantage.
That's true too. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Usually he has better econ, better unit production, stronger units.
So
Alright, so I'm going to be opening 15 hatch here. We can see from the screen that he's going to be opening 14-14, so this opening will show how to deal with it. So I know that he's on the left side, so I only have to be a bit fearful of him being on the bottom here. So usually you want to put your overlord locations in between the pathway of where Zerglings would have to travel towards you, so that you can see an earlier pool Zergling count as soon as possible. For example, if he 10 pulled me, I'd be able to see his Zerglings come out pretty soon. But I did spot his overlord in the south side, so I do know he's at the bottom here. So I'm going to open 16 pool and 17 extractor.
Standard for you. I've seen you do this probably every game ever played, unless you're cheesing.
Yep. And so all I have to figure out here is, did he open 15 hatch like I did, or is he doing a pool build? So I'm going straight into his base with my overload right now. Going to be able to see what he's doing. Haven't seen any lings come out yet, so I'm pretty safe to not worry about temple here. And I do see lings come out, but I do see a drone going down, so I do know that he is planning to expand with this. So I usually like to drop a spine crawler here. I usually do it at the top, because if you build it at the bottom, the Zerglings that are earlier than yours will be able to come and kill it faster. In these circumstances, he has to go up the ramp. Takes more time.
Do you try to get your Zerglings made in your main instead of your natural, just so you can keep them? Or do you want
Yes, at the beginning I do, but once I have 2 to 4 out, it doesn't really matter. So I want to get my 2 queens as fast as I can here. So now I see that he's not really building too many Zerglings, and I'm looking at the overlord placement at the bottom there, and I don't see any additional Zerglings coming, so I should be droning a little bit after this, because the spine crawler is going to make me very safe. So here's when I start drone production. I'm about to get supply blocks, so I really do need an overload at this point. And it's very safe to have these 2 queens out finally, because even if I do get attacked by unexpected number of units, I can block my ramp. So starting my speed, and I pull off all gas here, because if he wants to baneling bust me, reacting to that by putting down a baneling nest or a roach warren now will really screw up my econ, because I'm not sure how much he droned behind this, especially because he only built 4 Zerglings that he's showing me. So at this point I'm going to try to drone as much as I can. So here I'm building 4, because he has not shown me any more units. So I'm just at this point waiting for speed. Speed will allow me to use my Zerglings as aggressive units and as aggressive scouts, so I can scout his saturation, gas timings, and if I get lucky, I can scout his tech as well. So, Baneling speed is about to finish, so at this point, I can start moving out with my Zerglings, and I can do it safely because I know that they won't get caught outside of my base against speed Zerglings. And these Zerglings are just going to be going to his base to scout, because at this point I'm completely blind, so I'm putting back on gas, building a Roach Warren, and let's see what these Zerglings can see. So, just being a little precautious here, because I don't know if he has banelings or not. And I don't see a lot of units. I see him bring queens down, so I know that he's been droning very heavily behind this, and I see a baneling nest. So the baneling nest is very good for me at this point, because my Roach Warren is halfway done. So baneling bust possibilities will not kill me. So at this point I'm just going to go back to my base, because he does have more Zerglings than me. I'm going to build a few Zerglings here. And the only reason I'm doing this is just in case that he does start morphing a ton of banelings in front of my base, I want to have some kind of a unit presence. So now I see that. So these banelings will actually help because they act as a buffer and they are used to annoy him by sending 2 lings each onto banelings as they're walking towards my base.
Holy
so hopefully
shit.
kill some. You want to do time check?
Yeah, I'll pause at 8 minutes. Well, 7:53 because all the banelings are right in front, and this is an exciting time. Okay, now let's talk about this for a sec. This looks fucking scary as hell. Your drone count is way up. You have 7 roaches popping.
Yeah,
What's
this is really good timing for me. I am going to minimally counter this, at least with the roach timing, which is why I said it was very good for me to see that baneling nest. It basically allows me to be fully prepared for this. So as long as you split your drones and don't lose too many by detonates, I should be fine here.
So you don't want to try to run up into your main and block? Is that necessary?
What?
Take all the drones in your main and use your 2 queens to block?
But I am blocking. See the choke?
Oh, I see. You're blocking here. He can kind of walk up here.
Yeah.
But I guess he has to go far, so you could really...
Yeah, he's going to have to go around unless he wants to blow up into a queen. So if he goes around, then I just have to react.
Okay. Alright, okay. Well, at 53 seconds...
Yep.
3, 2, 1, play.
Alright, so he didn't go around, so this is really good for me, as you can see. He went the wrong way, so my drones were completely safe. So at this point, I'm feeling very confident. He is droning behind us, there's no way of me knowing this. But at this point, all I have to do is try to stabilize, because I know that I'm not really taking economic damage at all. So just try to make sure you don't lose as many drones as you... Try to save as many drones as you can. And as you can see, I'm continuing to make drone production, so this will allow me to maintain my drone lead.
Wow, you thought you were going to lose both queens there too, but you didn't.
Yep.
That's good.
So at this point, there's 2 ways you can transition into this. One is you can stay on tier 1 and build a 3rd base. I think that's usually the best play. Especially because even if he did a quick tech into mutas, your 3rd base will be finished by the time he's there. Which will allow you to build spore crawlers there on the creep. And the second transition is I could maybe pressure him back by putting down a baneling nest and going all in. So it looks like this game I'm just trying to balance out my econ because I didn't handle the small pressure there that well. So I'm spending my resources and I see that he's taking a 3rd here. So I'm fairly certain that he's not really teching that fast because he is trying to take this 3rd. So this is quite good for me. This means that my layer is possibly ahead of his here. And my saturation is really, really good at this point. I'm almost at 50 drones. So I'm pretty comfortable against any attack at this point. So I can just take my 3rd to kind of react to his.
And your drone rotation's pretty far ahead of his, right? So
yeah, which is why I have a supply lead and I have more minerals and resources. So at this point, once your saturation hits this point, you should start pumping some kind of upgrades. I don't know why I haven't put my Evo chambers down yet. That's definitely a mistake.
So you want to go double Evo off this?
Yeah, double Evo would be great.
Because you know he's not. Because he's not going muta, right? So.
Well, we don't know that yet, but it's unlikely that he's going mutas.
It would be a bad muta build because he can't safely take this 3rd.
Yeah, and he invested so much into the ridiculous number of banelings at the beginning.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just pushing out to see what I can do. I have no idea what he has. Really should put down those Evo chambers. These are very late.
Oh, you went Hydras.
Still need upgrades. Alright, so blindly attacking here. Probably not the best idea because he did build a ton of units, but at least this will show me what kind of units he's producing. So at this point, I know that he didn't build any roaches, but he had a ton of units produced. So usually looking at something like this, you kind of expect mutas to come from it. But the reason why I'm not afraid of mutas at this point is, number one, I have the Hydra Den already built, and number two, I already know that he had a very late layer because of my Overseer Scout. So that pretty much tells me he made those units because he didn't want to die to an attack. So as you can see here, I already teched into Hydralisks. But the reason why I'm not going to build any Hydras is because I know that he stayed on low tech for so long. So I know that if I try to tech too fast here, with a third base already built, I could possibly die to an attack. So instead of teching up, I continue to produce tier 1 units, roaches and lings. The lings act as a buffer because he had so many powerful lings at that point when I lost all my roaches. And I put down an infestation pit just to open up my tech, to give me options, because right now I don't feel safe to tech up. So I don't want to do too many things at once. So I am double upgrading now finally, which I should have done a little bit earlier. But the main key here is I didn't decide to tech up, because definitely if I tried to go into 14 Hydras here, as we're going to see how this game progresses, I probably would have lost. So I am upgrading both my infestation pit and I have the Hydra upgrade, so just in case I wanted to switch into those two techs, I'd feel safe. I'd be able to. And at this point, I just need to pump a lot of roaches and a lot of lings.
So do you try to saturate your third there, or do you just need
nice
gas?
I already have 64, that's more than enough at this point.
Ah, perfect.
Units. So at this point, I'm just kind of waiting to see what he wants to do. Because of his slow tech, I know that I am ahead in tech, so he should have a bigger army than I do, which means he should be using it. And it looks like he's moving out now. I see that. Yep.
His army's not that big, though.
So I clicked on his units, and I know that he is slightly ahead in upgrades, so I know that I need to start producing lots of units. So even though I have Infestation Pit and a Hydra Den down, this is not the time to tech. And you're going to see that it is the right decision because I barely hold off this attack. So at this point, all I'm doing is making sure that the surface areas of lings are not as good, making sure that those banelings don't get amazingly comp hits, because that actually does work against just roaches. And make sure you hit your injects and macro while all of this is going on. Trying to get onto the high ground with the roaches onto the right side. Move forward whenever you think you're going to be able to win the fight, so that you can catch off the roaches that are trying to run away. And now I see units are streaming in, so I have to be very careful. The buffers of his things are doing an excellent job. So just try and move back the weak ones as best you can. Here I'm going to a high ground. High ground position allows you to hit the roaches coming up the ramp a little bit more than he'd like, because he's completely blind, because he doesn't have an overseer or air unit up top there. So always look for high ground positions. They're really good. So as you can see, my concave is a little bit better in this next fight. So this is quite good for me. But he is consistently streaming in more units, so no reason to tech right now, just continuing to focus on building nothing but roaches until I stabilize. So.
And you are catching up in upgrades, I guess.
Yep. I was a little bit slow in those in the first place. It probably would have made a difference, but as is.
Yeah, because your gas deposit's really higher. Now, when are you safe to get either Hydras or Infestors, and which one will you do?
No need at this point. Absolutely no need. I'm trying to survive this push.
You're just trying to survive it.
Okay. I know that he's invested more into this than I have, so if this push is negated, then I will win the game. So at this point, I've finally overcome the numbers, and now we're going to see the game kind of spiral downwards for him. And
because you're free to tech when you probably know he didn't tech because he invested so much.
I don't need to tech. I already have the tech out. So basically now,
well, that's what I mean. I mean, use higher tier units when he probably can't.
Yeah. So it is impossible for him to win at this point, because I know that I've stabilized on building nothing but low tech units, and I have tech, and he does not. So at this point in the game, just macro as best as you can. Take an additional base whenever you can, and once you hit a very close to max army, just move out. Now I'm doing Infestors here because I know that he stalled his tech so much. Hydras, in my opinion, are better. But if he's just going to have a roach army, then obviously having Infestors is a little bit better. Because fungal growth is extremely good against just roaches. So
Armored units.
I'm just sending that out to a scout now. I see that he's trying to move out, but at this point I have such a powerful army. I can basically just move out and declare map dominance. There's not much you can do. So I'm just trying to get those roaches in a big clump.
Oh wow, nice fungal.
And it should be good.
Sick fungals. Man, that does so much.
Yep.
Let's check the upgrades here. He is 2-2. You are 1-1. Doesn't even really matter though. You're about to be 2-2. But
Yeah, infestors just take over at this point.
fungal growth does way more than upgrades, right?
Yep.
Excellent game, David.
Yep.
All right.
All right,
well.
tune in for game number 2.